And for a while, George Redmond was involved in the fighting for Saint-Côme-du-Mont, and eventually they took him back somewhere to Douve, sometime on June the 9th or 10th. Correct me if I'm wrong. Story I could tell you for hours. The guy dropped on the church of Saint-Côme-du-Mont, and he sees the body of his colonel being shot at by marching troops. The Germans had a lot of what we called Osttruppen. There were guys who had been rounded up countries, you know, Asiatic guys, you know, and for some reason I don't know, they were taking shots at the body hanging from the trees. So it's there, and an area secured for the Americans until they eventually can take the bridges over there. And only little field, if you can picture it, that doesn't change at all. Some wires over there, but that's very black with maybe more water. The place was surrounded, was flooded. But this is one of the big figures, very important because imagine, I was telling you this morning, Carentan was held by a full German paratroopers regiment, top guys, and right in the early hours of the invasion, on this farm over there was an aid station with a lot of civilians, and some civilians that got killed by some of the shelling. Really hard for the civilians to survive and live in a farm like this. Thought for the civilians, German. At 4 battalions, one of them had been rushed to Utah on the early hours of D-Day, and they were trying to come back. Americans don't have too much ammunition. They're fighting. They rounded up here by the American troops, and they decided to walk them to that farm that you can hardly see behind the trees. It's right behind the corner. There's a farm called Penem. They're going to take them there. But our artillery guys from one officer, you saw his name at the museum this morning, Lieutenant Colonel Wolverton, is the one who got killed even before touching the ground of France. He was killed. He was the commander. Very heavily defended. We're talking about the famous Colonel Johnson, great guy. He's around here, taking a good view on what's happening on Carentan. It happened overnight, and the flooding was already done. It had been done since 1943. The Germans are back over there. So what happened on D-Day, beside that really bad drop on that bridge, the river, few men crossed the Douve, went over the Douve, met a lot of resistance, went back, and decided to hold the line. But one battalion from the you hear me? Good enough? Come closer, please. This is a place called Hell's Corner, again, an English name. It remained after 73 years. Just again to locate ourselves, you can see the church of Carentan, that steeple down there. That's Carentan, where we were this morning. This direction is Utah Beach. Sainte-Marie-du-Mont, Saint-Côme-du-Mont. This entire area here is very much 501st Airborne, 501st Parachute Infantry sector, and part of the 506. Very much in this direction was one of the drop zones. There were one drop zone for roughly each of the 3 parachute regiments. Getting tired, sorry. And that big drop zone over here, you cannot really see it right now, but behind those trees there's a big barn, there's a big village, and the Germans had prepared that barn with gasoline, and on June the 6th, when they heard the very first planes flying over, they lit up the place, and believe it or not, but the entire area was very much lit up like in a full day, and the paratroopers went down in this area. Full visibility for the Germans to shoot them down. So that drop zone here was literally murder for the paratroopers of the 501st and 506, whose objective were to block some bridges that we have on the river. You don't see it from here, but you have to imagine that between us here and Carentan, there's the large river, the Douve River, it's right there, with 2 bridges that the Germans had built in 1943, and that could bring up reinforcements, German reinforcements, to beat the Americans on Utah Beach. So those two bridges had to be controlled by one battalion of the 506. The 501st, they were supposed to secure the bridges that we went over on our way between Carentan and Saint-Côme-du-Mont. Two bridges over there are supposed to be secured by the 501st. Eventually, another objective that plays in a few minutes are the famous locks. They are the locks over here, which are supposed to flood.
First question, who are you?
I'm George K. Mullins.
What brings you here to Normandy?
To pay my respects to the boys that didn't make it back.
What did you do here in Normandy?
I first landed not too far from here, out of a boat, and we went to the Dove River. Across the Dove River, I don't know what day. We had one casualty that day just before we crossed. And we made the crossing, I believe, before midnight, and we had the most casualties one time, as I know of the 327 all during the war.
How did you survive?
Well, I was one of the lucky ones. I was alive next morning.
Anything about your upbringing or
Oh,
courage?
I lived through the Great Depression and must have been one tough guy. Took my basic training, Camp Wheeler, Georgia. After working all day, we could go in a full field or a hike with a full field pack, 30 miles. I had a short training in my basic training. I had never seen a tank, and I never seen a piece of artillery. But believe me, when I got right here in Carentan and on and through, I learned it fast.
Walking here today, what's going through your mind? What do you feel?
How come I'm here? How come I'm here? Excuse me, and no one else in my outfit. And I recognize the older buildings. And
What would you say to them if they were here? Or if you could talk to them?
I think I'd be so happy that I couldn't ask a question.
What was your job or duty when you entered? So you were a glider. Tell me a little bit about that.
When I came here, I was put in the gliders in Reading, our camp out of Reading, England. From the States, I first went to Ireland, from there over, and then I went ashore down here, and our regiment was a mixed up regiment. Some went in this type of boat, some went in the other boat. I went in a boat, it was a ship. Ship can carry a boat, but a boat can't carry a ship. That's your distinguish the two. And I can remember the big mines, the big round, I guess they're about 3 foot through, and they were cable down below. And I remember them being blown up by the mine sweepers and how close they came to the ship I was in, like that, to the side.
Sorry, this guy doing his job's messing up our audio.
They think it's machine guns.
Yeah. Any advice for that are serving now, or?
Well, I was asked a question by the historian, how come C Company, they were kind of like E Company, I believe it was the 506, they're always online. And my reply was, we were diggers. So what are you talking about, diggers? I said, we never stopped 15 minutes till we were digging a hole. And that's the way we survived, is underground. And it didn't, the faster the artillery came in, the faster we could dig. I spent 72 days up in Holland on the front lines, and we needed a little rest, but we came down to Normandy, and we was back in Bastogne, Belgium in 2 weeks.
So how long were you over here total?
How long was I in I was in, the first time I went in the Army, I was in 2 years, 2 months, and 11 days.
And were you just pulled out of your town? Were you drafted, or how did you enter? Were you drafted?
I was drafted, but I let them draft me. I was going to sign up anyway, so I didn't bother to volunteer. So I said, they're going to get me anyway in a few days. So I never bothered, they got me anyway. But after this campaign, I was pulled back in the service, and I spent 1 more year in the Armed Security Agency.
How do you look so young? What's your secret?
That'd take a while for me to answer that. I give credit to my father and mom, and that's first. I would have to give credit to my creator, Ark. My mom and dad next, and being married 40 years to a little angel. That's how come it be. I guess I came from a strong family. My sister, wait a minute. I remember her when she was about like this. She was my dancing partner.
He would come home and we'd always dance together.
Oh, fun. Well, you got some new boots to go dancing tomorrow.
I'd say I'll loan them to anybody who wants to dance in my place.
He's a great dancer.
No,
Yeah, you are.
my wife was.
What is your milking cows story?
Oh, you got that story?
I didn't get the whole story.
I was somewhere, I don't know if it's here, somewhere in France. I'm a milk drinker. Besides, I grew up on a farm. I can milk with both hands. And this good-looking, beautiful cow she was down there grazing. Hey, you're a good-looking cow. Somebody must be taking care of you. So I pet her on the back. No kicking, no horn button. So I got out my canteen, whoosh, 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 and the foam just running. Oh my goodness, I hadn't had any milk since I left the state. So down the hatch. I looked around, there's about 10 guys behind me. But there was so many, for a second she didn't give any more milk. So we had to turn her loose. Where in the world did you get that story? I suppose I got a lot of funny ones. But I was known by my first sergeant as the damn kid. So after Bastogne, he called all the sergeants in and says, hey, we got to replace some boys. I'm telling this, how I made my rank. Now, it was a hard one. But I replaced my sergeant through after so many sergeants had got killed and wounded. But the first sergeant says, this damn kid, he was with us in Normandy. And he's still with us. I'm going to make him a sergeant. That's how I made my sergeant. I don't remember ever being a PFC. I went from a private to a buck sergeant. And I got tech made by the time I hit Birch's Garden. And they put me in control of a platoon, which is tech sergeant. But I think I didn't make that one because I believe I was too young. Too young for the job.
Tell her what you did in Berchtesgaden.
I had my 20th birthday at, you could see Hitler's home up on a hill. I seen that home before they tore it down.
And you
They
were
didn't leave it.
You were guarding General. You were guarding as.
Oh, I had the privilege of guarding von Ribbentrop. I was sergeant of the guard, but I'm sorry I didn't take his Iron Cross away because I could have did it, but for some reason I didn't have my mind on a lot of things that I'd have my mind on. I'd have some photography. When we were in combat, from here on out, we weren't allowed a camera, and we was told to never keep a diary. George Koskomagi, he wrote the book Hell's Highway. I said, well, how did you get away? Well, he said, I put it on an onion peel, and I was going to eat the onion peel in case he got captured. But I always tried to do what I was told, and to make the best out of anything that I went after to accomplish. And I still am. I'm still at it. I haven't slowed down a bit, as I can tell, but I need a little more sleep sometimes.
Well, you are jumping in and out of that Jeep faster than us all.
Well, I hope to keep that up for a while.
You're doing great.
Yeah.
Anything additional you'd like to talk about right now?
I don't know, if you'll ask me the question, maybe I can answer it.
Anybody got a question?
I'll give you an interesting one. My captain he took command of, Captain Galber was a C Company when we came here. I think it was more on the north of part of Carentan, and he, when he went on up to the next rank, why, they put Captain Miller in their place, and he was with us throughout the rest of the war. And I met him in Sparks, Nevada. And I said, Captain Miller, do you remember, we spent 72 days up in Holland, do you remember of us taking a bath? He says, you guys didn't, but I did. He says, I got a bath, 5-minute bath with the British. But he said, you did. But I think he's mistaken. I remember taking one field bath. And a field bath was a frame built up, and guys just lined up, and you go in at one end, had a lot of water coming down, and you went down the other one. Somebody, I don't know, to this day, I don't know what went with our clothes, because all of us were naked as we went in there, come out the other side.
So just running water, no soap?
No, I think we had some soap. We needed it, that's for sure. Now, some people get the wrong idea about this. That helmet, it took care of a lot of situations. We didn't go day in and day out with that. We took a bath in that thing the best we could. You learn to do with what you have to do with. And that's what we did. But my longest combat that I spent was in Holland. And I was under one of the barrages. Had some kind of machinery that could tell all the shells that was coming in. There's only one place in North Africa that more shells, barrage, at one time was thrown on anyone. And how important that foxhole is. You boys might not dig them, but at the right time you'll dig them to save your life. Next morning, after all night of attack, we had that even in zeroing in, we had got one direct hit. That two boys just to my right got it. But next morning, every boy on that line was alive, including Captain Miller's crew up there of headquarters, company headquarters. Now that's how important a foxhole is. And believe me, to this day, if I had to, I can dig a foxhole to challenge anybody. It all depends on how fast the 88s were coming in. If you come in slow, you dug slow. If you come in fast, you got faster all the time. I think I should have tell you this. On the foxhole, how important it is. I know we got a different wars now, and it's different from that helicopter and get up there, shoot a tank. I don't know how far you boys know how far it is. It's a different wars. Not only that, I was told we're not going to have the wars like you boys have been in and I've been in. Some kind of a cyber war. I'll have to talk to Flash Gordon about that.
Wonderful.
Any guys remember Flash Gordon?
Oh yes, I own the movie.
So I have a question, if that's okay.
I remember when he came out in
He
the...
has a question.
No. I don't want to interrupt.
Oh, that's okay.
I was just wondering, was there a specific leader that you really admired, and why you admired him so much?
Was there a specific leader that you really admired, and why was it that you admired him so much?
You know, I admired every non-com there, every officer was there. I was a different person, I guess. Maybe the airborne are still this way. I think we loved our leaders. Am I right? Because they didn't say, boys, go get them. They jumped right with you. They wrote, General Pratt got killed in a glider because he wanted to be with us.
Airborne.
Yep. It's airborne with you.
Thank you, sir.
Any more questions? I hope you enjoyed what I had to say, and I hope it would be a little help.
That was wonderful.